Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, and you know what? I gotta be honest with you. It's the first time in a very long time I've done something unbelievable. I've gone with double naps today. The double nap, a rare occurrence in my life, even though I'm up at 4:15 every morning. But today, I got up this morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. I take 25-minute naps, took a morning nap, and then I took another nap after lunch. Double naps required because the Nashville Predators game was on so late last night that I didn't go to bed till like midnight. Then I turned around and got up at 4:15, did my 3-hour show, wrote the anonymous mailbag, all those things. Just did a double nap. It's why I'm a little bit late today. Ordinarily, I start at 3 Eastern. It's about 3:15 or 3:20 or whatever the heck it is right now. I hope all of you are having fantastic Tuesdays. Once more, my name is Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. I'd encourage you to go to sportsbookreview.com and check out sportsbookreview.com to get all of your gambling and informational related needs, including as we get ready for the Eastern and Western Conference in both the NBA and the NHL. We got a couple of games tonight. I'm on the two favorites. I don't think either one of these games are going to be close. I'm on the Warriors. I'm on the Jazz. I think the Western Conference NBA Finals get set tonight. But we have a lot to dive into. There's the gambling picks right off the top. I also want to tell you, go to my friends, if you are smart, go to thehomeloanexpert.com. My guy Ryan Kelly, save yourself a bundle. Also, big news, if you are a VIP, we are allowing you to sign up this week for our Outkick the Weekend in Vegas. We have a limited number of spots. You are able to do it this week at a reduced rate. If you are an Outkick VIP and you are watching this, you can sign up now. If not, then you can sign up starting on Monday, and the rates will be a bit higher. All of that is going on right now. Outkick the Weekend is officially underway. All right. Yes, I mean, I'm going to be on the Rockets and the Warriors. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the Western Conference. All right, several things to get to right here. One, this is a major blockbuster deal in the world of media that is going to have so many different interesting permutations and potential outcomes that I'm telling you right now, you need to be following this if you're at all interested in sports, business, or media. All right? Comcast versus Disney for Fox assets. What is going to end up happening here? I'll break it down for you. The Preds, big win last night in Game 6. I got Justin Timberlake tomorrow night. I may go to Game 7 on Thursday night. A lot of late nights coming. I might have to double nap it up again in the future. Donald Trump has ended the deal with Iran. What do we think about that decision? And Tom Brady went to the Met fundraising gala, whatever you want to call it. And he was dressed like a bullfighting cyber criminal. That's a bad combination. He dressed like a bullfighter who had just stole a bunch of your Bitcoins. And I will hold up that picture. Only way to explain it is he's married to Giselle, and she made him decide what he was going to wear. And so we will break down all of that and more. But let's start with Comcast versus Disney for these Fox assets. Yesterday afternoon, evening, after the markets had already shut down. And by the way, we have got Disney announcing, I believe, their earnings today when the market closes. So this timing is utterly fascinating. Here is something that is utterly fascinating about this. I'm telling you right now that when you look at what is going on with Disney, I have been telling you for a while that Comcast was planning on trying to steal all of these 21st century assets that Disney is buying. They are buying all the film library. They are buying all of the assets from 21st Century Fox historically. They are buying all of the Fox channels, the cable channels, the Fox Sports South, the Fox Sports Ohios, the Fox Sports LAs, or whatever the heck in the world there are. They are also buying a bunch of other assets. They were trying to buy Fox's assets in the Sky Television Broadcasting Network and a lot of European assets, everything else. Here is what is going on. I think that we are entering into a massive battle, and I think Comcast is trying to play three-dimensional chess here. Comcast made a higher offer than Disney did. That initial Comcast offer was rejected by the Fox board because they feared that it was going to be too expensive and too difficult to get that process through regulation. And the reason why they partly did that was because the government has sued to try and stop the AT&T Time Warner merger. Well, that merger, the ruling is coming down from the judge on June 12th. And so as a result of that June 12th merger, which should be thoroughly interesting to actually watch, we will see what ends up transpiring there. And it now becomes and seems likely for everybody who was following that case that we are going to end up with the AT&T Time Warner merger as likely to happen. So Comcast is preparing for their war chest. They are trying to get the financing lined up so that instead of Disney stock, they are able to buy the Disney assets with cash. Now, the stock market has responded today as follows. The stock market has responded today, and we haven't heard what Disney's earnings are going to be, so we'll have to follow that. But Comcast is down substantially today. Comcast is down 5%, about $1.70 on their share price. Disney is down $1, suggesting that everybody is getting afraid that Disney and Comcast may get into a war for these assets. And Fox itself, after being up over $1, was only down 5 cents. And by the way, this guy over here, all right, this guy, I'm going to give you a warning because you're always in here. You're always talking about the number of beers you're drinking. I'm going to block you because it's old, it's boring, nobody cares. So if you are going to continue to do that, I'm going to block you. I've seen you in here for a long time. Nobody cares about that, all right? I'm going to block you. If you continue to do it, you'll never be allowed to come in again. I rarely look over at the comments, but if for like 6 months you've been saying the same boring thing, nobody cares, all right? I am offering you an olive branch. Either finish or die. We got a public apology. I appreciate it. No one cares about how many beers you have had at all. Beer Guy is great. If we have a beer sponsorship one day and you want to constantly pump that sponsorship, that will be permissible. Otherwise, nobody cares, all right? So, what happened here? I think Comcast leaked this the day before the Disney announcement to try to drive down the Disney price because Disney's purchase price is predicated on its stock price. And so, as a result, I think that what is going on here is we are potentially getting set for a multi-month battle that is likely to end in a serious price increase. And I think what's also possible here is that Facebook, Apple, Google, or Netflix, or one of the Amazon, one of the big multi-billion-dollar companies that's right now dominating all of business, comes swooping in over the top and makes a cash bid because, in particular, Amazon and Netflix obviously crave desperately all of these amounts of assets. Let me ask you this question. What would it be worth to Netflix if suddenly they had the right to the X-Men forever? Can you imagine if Netflix started making X-Men movies and they made them exclusively on Netflix? How many people might be willing to subscribe to Netflix solely to be able to see the latest X-Men movies, the Wolverine, all of those movies that are being distributed by Fox that they control, even though they are a Disney process? This is something that I think is intriguing. And Netflix is already doing this with Will Smith and with Adam Sandler movies. Netflix understands that they have to put their best content available on the streaming device. A lot of other companies are still tiptoeing up to it. The Disney offering direct-to-consumer, I'm really curious whether they're going to offer anything direct-to-consumer from Marvel or Star Wars that's incredibly valuable, or maybe even Pixar, that allows people to watch movies in their own home. Exactly, somebody just said, you need good exclusive content that you can't find elsewhere. Now, to ESPN's credit, they just signed a $150 million deal with the UFC to try to get that onto their broadcast platform, which leads me into something larger. NASCAR is rumored to be for sale. WWE is up for sale, I think, on some level. If I were running one of these companies right now, instead of going to try to buy the Fox assets, if I were Disney, I would take a step back and I would contemplate buying NASCAR. I would also contemplate, certainly, I would 100% buy WWE. I would try and control things and then put them on my streaming devices. Just think about this for a minute now. If NASCAR and if WWE are potentially in play, if Fox could get $10 billion more from Comcast, why would you not potentially go out into the market and acquire some of this original content? And if you were Disney and you were truly committed to ESPN Plus, why wouldn't you contemplate buying the WWE? Why wouldn't you contemplate buying NASCAR? It's the same thing that WME did with buying UFC. I think the future is owning the assets that you can own. And so if I'm ESPN, I applaud their attempt to try to get exclusive original content on their ESPN Plus programming. But if I'm Netflix, guys, I'm sitting back and saying, wait a minute. Why wouldn't we go over the top and try to make a play for the WWE? Why wouldn't we come in at the last minute on Fox and try to buy them out of the, blow everybody else's offer out of the water, take everything? Again, think about that. Think about if Netflix suddenly had the X-Men. Think about the value that Netflix could unlock by putting X-Men movies exclusively on Netflix. How many people would sign up for that? Now, I don't know if Disney will have the balls because they're fighting a two-fronted war. They're trying to get people to sign up for their streaming service while at the same time trying to get people to continue to support their cable broadcast business. But imagine if Disney ever had the balls to say, hey, the Han Solo movie is only going to be on our streaming service. This new Pixar movie, which we think is going to be fantastic, it's only going to be available to people who sign up for our streaming service. We're going to go out and we're going to buy the WWE, and the only way you're going to be able to get WrestleMania from now on is by subscribing to our streaming service. I think that makes a lot of sense. If I were Jimmy Pitaro, if I were sitting around and I was saying, guys, give me some suggestions, I would a lot rather be in the business personally of owning the WWE forever and maybe even owning NASCAR forever than I would be in the business of leasing games from everybody else. I don't understand it. Now, there's always somebody who comes in and says, well, I can just steal it online. They post the links on Reddit. All right, good for you. If you're comfortable streaming a shitty broadcast on a Reddit server to save $10 a month, then more power to you. You can also go out and steal pretty much every movie and stream it illegally too. Call me crazy. Call me a pussy if you want to. I actually like and enjoy being able to pay and subsidize content that I actually support. That's the truth. So if I were trying to create a business, I'm going to try to create a business where people who create the content get paid for it. Call me crazy. I feel good. If I like a book, I feel good about paying the author a royalty fee. If I like a show, I feel good about letting Netflix know the reason I'm subscribing is because I love Bloodline or whatever else. I like the idea of a virtuous circle and encouraging companies to make good content in order to allow that to propagate in the future. There's a great article in the New York Times today about the Rubin Report and several other of those guys, Jordan Peterson, that I would say that I have some connections with, Ben Shapiro. If you go and look at what they are advocating for, a lot of their support now is coming direct from consumer. And that's why we're trying to do our event in Vegas. That's why we're trying to start to do more direct-to-consumer events. I've been writing online for 15 years. Do you know how much money I have ever charged anybody, millions of people, over the last 15 years to read any article that I've ever written? $0. $0. So I appreciate and understand that that's how I built my audience, but at some point, I think you have to take it to the next level. I think you have to take it to the next level, and people on the internet have to learn that if they like content, they have to pay for it. And some of you got upset when I said this, but I think there's a strong business model to be argued that every podcast should be behind a paywall. I know some people out there get upset by this. You're like, oh, everything should be free, but you pay for everything. Nobody gets free coffee. You don't walk into Dunkin' Donuts and say, or Starbucks, and say, hey, I should get it for free. You should sell ads inside of your store so I never have to pay for coffee. You don't walk into a existing bar and say, hey, I want as many beers as I can get right now, and you should sell ads to everybody else to pay for the fact that I'm going to drink. Most good content is directly supported by people paying. And so I think that it's going to make a lot of sense going forward with the idea that everybody's going to start to charge. And that's the truth. And I don't think it makes any doubt at all. Now, I got a book coming out in September. We got a live event that's going on in Vegas. We got a VIP section of the website. And I disagree with you. There's so much content, it's free. I don't sell picks. All right, I'm going to have to block you sell picks guy. Like, there's a lot of obsession. Like, I don't understand. It's a good question out here. I don't understand, like, do you go in to other people's businesses and be like, what in the world are you doing charging for the work that you do here? You don't show up at the mechanic and say, hey, here's my car, fix it. You should go out there and find people to advertise for you inside of your mechanic shop so I don't have to pay to fix it. All right? You would never say something like that. You would never even contemplate it. The capitalistic society is predicated on this. Provide something of value and you will be able to create something else, right? I mean, that's the truth. And so what we're doing is we have created a false dichotomy. The reason why I think the internet commerce is broken is because everybody chases the same thing, and that model is broken now, which was page views. What matters is not page views. It is the overall quality of the content. People are like, you have to compete with free content, so good luck. I don't have to compete with free content at all. I'm a multimillionaire based on what I do, which is pretty good at it. I'm just saying that there is a lot more opportunity out there. The reason why Bloomberg is starting to charge, the reason why the Wall Street Journal charges, the reason why The Athletic is turning into $1 billion company is because they recognize that the flaw in the internet from the get-go was that everything should be free when it comes to written content. I don't buy into that. The business model doesn't support it. You should pay like you do on Netflix not to have commercials. If you're not paying, then you should get charged. It's my podcast argument. My podcast argument is if I were running ESPN Plus, I would take all my podcasts off of iTunes and I would put them behind ESPN Plus. Because think about this. Why should you be able to download a podcast that airs for free for 3 hours on television, have all of the commercials stripped out of it, get only the content, and get it for free whenever you want? What's the benefit to the creator? What is the benefit to me, who is on 300 AM FM stations nationwide, to allowing you to get my podcast without having to hear any of the ads that air throughout the entire show? More views doesn't help me. You're in the wrong concept if you're focused on more views. I don't care about more views. McDonald's doesn't care how many people drive by McDonald's. They care how many people come into McDonald's and buy something that allows them to profit. The internet has had the wrong business model. It's been focused on how many people come into my parking lot and drive through without buying anything. If that's happening, most businesses would say, what are we doing wrong? The goal is to have everybody pay if they consume your content. That's the goal of every business. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Podcast it with commercials, that sounds good, but a lot of times it doesn't make sense because you have different rates for everything. And so as a result, I think commercial free behind a paywall actually makes a lot more sense. I think commercial free behind a paywall, I think podcasts are going to do to radio what the internet did to writing, which is ultimately collapse the business. And I think it makes a lot more sense. Content, if it's good, should be paid for. I got into a big discussion about this recently. We got millions of people downloading the podcast. Should I try to have millions of people download the podcast who don't pay anything? Or should I be happy with 10,000 who pay a lot? I kind of think I should be focused on 10,000 who pay a lot. As much as people who want to consume stuff for free are great, I think that the future is going to be in monetizing direct content. It's a good question. The guy out there, I don't know why it feels good. This is a mosquito dick versus a helicopter dick. If you have a mosquito dick, you sit around and say, nobody will pay for X. That's how mosquito dick think. Mosquito dick was sitting around saying, water comes out of the faucet for free. Why would anybody ever pay for water. It's free everywhere. I can go anywhere and drink water for free. Do you know what a massive business was? Bottled water. Mosquito Dick was sitting around saying, ain't nobody ever going to pay for this. Why would somebody go to a restaurant when they can sit at home and eat without having to pay for it? That's what Mosquito Dick says. The way of the world is Helicopter Dick. Helicopter Dick comes around, twirls the big dick, and figures out how to make money off of it. Mosquito Dick sits around and assumes that there's no money to be made. That's the truth. Now, do you want to be a Mosquito Dick or do you want to be a Helicopter Dick? You want to be a Mosquito Dick, you can drive your Nissan Sentra and make $35,000 a year for the rest of your life and be so bragging about how I'm not going to pay for anything. Except you pay for everything. And you primarily pay every day of your life because you're a pathetic loser who's never taken a risk. Or you can be a Helicopter Dick, you can pull out the lasso penis, and you can go grab millions of dollars. It's an interesting decision to make. Anyway, all of this ties in with Comcast versus Disney for the Fox assets. I think there's a decent chance that both of these companies are paying too much for a declining asset base, and that the real play would be Netflix or Amazon coming over the top and being able to create this content within a new dynamic. All right? That makes, to me, an awful lot of sense. Last night, good parenting or great parenting, Nashville Predators Game 6 against the Winnipeg Jets. Game doesn't start till almost 9 o'clock. I'm already tired because I've been up since 4 a.m. I just got back from coaching a Little League baseball game last night, 7 and 8-year-olds. Our team played like crap. They got their asses kicked on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Wasn't a lot of fun for the coaches. I told them, I said, you got your butts kicked. You played poorly. Not going to sugarcoat it. Get home, Preds game starting. Got 2 kids. They absolutely love it. The game was, the first kid is too tired. He falls asleep. Second kid, we have a choice today. He's going to the Hermitage, Andrew Jackson's home. Do I let him stay up or do I make him go to bed? Dad of the Year candidate. I let him stay up, brought the 4th grader down, let him stay up with me. We stayed up till 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. Preds got an awesome win. This is an example of me changing. It's an example of me changing. Sometimes I admit I got things wrong. I would have never believed 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, that I would ever give up sleep to watch the Nashville Predators play a hockey game. I got to tell you, the NHL playoffs are vastly superior to the NBA. I hate to be playoff guy. I hate to be out here selling what I've heard NHL people selling for a long time, but I watch both of them. The NHL dunks all over the NBA in terms of the excitement of its playoffs. It just does. There is so much more entertainment in the NHL. Now, I got my issues with the NHL. I'm really bothered by the double. I want 1 overtime. All right? Like I said the other day, we got Elon Musk out here sending people to Mars soon. Surely we can figure out a way to make the ice better so that we only need 1 overtime, even if we have to stop like 5 minutes and get the Zamboni out as opposed to 2 20-minute segments. Born and raised basketball fan, played it my whole life, understand the game. From a sheer entertainment perception, hockey's better. Now, I got Justin Timberlake tomorrow. I think there's a good chance that I am going to go to Game 7 Thursday night in Bridgestone Arena. I'm definitely going to Justin Timberlake. I'm going to take my wife to that so she'll sleep with me after the concert. That's why I'm going to the concert. Justin Timberlake, hopefully will be entertaining. She's going to pretend that she's sleeping with Justin Timberlake instead of me, and she'll definitely sleep with me. So that's the goal with that. But I can't wait to get out and be able to attend that and then also get Game 7, likely to be the only Game 7 in either the second round of the NBA or the NHL. And so I think, like I said, the Warriors and the Rockets are going to win tonight, and the Western Conference will be set, and then I think the Celtics are going to win on Wednesday night. All right, Trump ended the Iran deal. I don't know if you guys have been paying much attention to this. I know that there's going to be a lot of criticism of Donald Trump. I think he might be a crazy genius when it comes to foreign policy. Let me explain. Foreign policy in autocratic regimes is often run by big, strong men who are larger-than-life charismatic figures. And they don't spend a lot of time sitting around contemplating geopolitical theory or allowing people in the State Department or the CIA to give them grand theories on what gestures mean. They understand whether a guy is going to do what he says he's going to do, and does he have the power to actually do it. George W. Bush said there were 3 countries in the axis of evil. We intervened in Iraq, invaded there, and wasted trillions of dollars. Worst decision, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican, of my lifetime, the decision to go to war with Iraq. I'm 39 years old. The worst decision any president has ever made was George W. Bush's decision to go into Iraq, okay? The other two countries he named in the axis of evil were Iran and also North Korea. Both of those countries were more dangerous than Iraq then, and they're more dangerous now. Now, a lot of people don't spend time sitting around thinking about it, but Middle Eastern countries are not a culture that you should aspire to. Somewhere lost in the universe has come this idea that somehow Western civilization and Western culture is not any better than other cultures, okay? The truth of the matter is this. Middle Eastern societies are backwards, decrepit, and not liberal in the sense that they do not allow individuals to have human rights. Iraq actually gave women more human rights than almost any Arab country. Saudi Arabia just allowed women to drive. That was an awful decision. But if Trump can pull off success in North Korea, which it looks like might well happen, and if he can lead to Iran collapsing. See, remember the reason these European countries want Iran to remain a viable entity is because they are making hundreds of billions of dollars as trade partners with Iranian companies. The reason they want the currently existing government in Iran to remain viable is because they have hundreds of billions of dollars at stake based on partnerships in France, Britain, and Germany. We don't have those. And Iran is starting to collapse under the pressure of its oppressive regime, just like North Korea did, because ultimately in a global economy, you have to provide for your people. And reasonable, moderate people in Iran do not hate America. They want to be able to watch Spider-Man in movie theaters. Women want to be able to go out without hijabs on. Women want to be able to advance as a society, and so do men. This regime needs to collapse, and it needs to collapse without us being involved because of economic pressure. So, I actually like the idea of withdrawing from this Iran deal because I think they're probably still getting nuclear weapons. And I also think that the American economic pressure in a globalized economy is actually more valuable than a bunch of eggheads sitting around debating geopolitical tensions without any actual stake in the game. Donald Trump may well be, in many respects, a disaster as a president. But he may be able to redeem all of that by being the greatest foreign policy leader of this century if he can break up North Korea and eventually lead to a rapprochement of sorts between North and South Korea. And also, if Iran's people are allowed to rise up against their feudal lord-like government and knock out the Ayatollah and the influence of the Muslim faith and become just a little bit more secular, that country can take off. There are a lot of reasonable and intelligent people in Iran that recognize that being dogmatic as they are and threatening to blow up Israel as they frequently do because of religious difference is not something that should be rewarded. We should be able to exert the economic pressure that America can bring to bear to force a regime change or at least a substantial regime alteration. I don't believe that the deal that we created with them now will allow that to happen. And so I am cautiously optimistic based on what's happened in North Korea about the idea of Donald Trump exerting true pressure on Iran and making them understand that we have an effective strongman leader who they have to be responsive to. Now, I'm still a little bit concerned about Donald Trump's ability to make decisions and who is advising him. But the results in North Korea make me believe that there could be a way to get the pressure ratcheted up on Iran. If you read about Iran, the inflation rate is exploding. The overall economy is starting to collapse. If we add sanctions at the right time, it's almost like suddenly catching a fighter whose legs have gone a little bit wobbly with an uppercut at the exact right moment, you might be able to knock out the regime that is in power there without spending $1 trillion and costing ourselves thousands and thousands of lives like George W. Bush did in Iraq. I want smart policy, not ridiculous policy. I'm not sure whether Donald Trump can manage the smart, but I think he can manage the not ridiculous. All right, did you guys see this? I thought this was pretty entertaining. If you haven't seen this picture already, let's finish on a light note after breaking down geopolitical politics. Can you see Tom Brady here? This is Tom Brady tonight with Gisele. Tom Brady rocking the, what I would call the bullfighter chic on this outfit. He is right here. Tom Brady, the bullfighter chic. He is, now look, a lot of you can say, I would wear anything if Gisele was sleeping with me. I totally understand that argument. My wife is not a former Victoria's Secret supermodel. Anytime we go out to any event, you know who picks my outfit? My wife. Because every man who's ever got married will keep dressing the exact same as he was before he got married because he thinks that's what women like. Having said that, Tom Brady in this outfit at the Met Gala, he looked like he was going to go fight a bull after he just stole a bunch of your Bitcoin. And I don't know what the rationale is here. This is not a good look. This is not a good look for Tom Brady. He's got to have maybe a little bit more balls. Even when Gisele says, honey, you look great in this, he's got to say, look, I've won 5 Super Bowls. I should be able to pick out my jacket and my pants. I'm not an expert on fashion, but I don't think that's a great look for Tom Brady. I appreciate all of you. And thank you for watching the show. If you enjoyed it, share it. We'll do this show as we do every single afternoon. Lots to follow with Comcast and NBC. You need gambling info, go to sportsbookreview.com. You need a mortgage, go to thehomeloanexpert.com. I am Clay Travis. We'll be live tomorrow morning again, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Much to break down. We'll break down the Western Conference Finals, which I think will be set. Lots of fun. And guarantee you, we have got an unbelievable Animal Thunderdome tomorrow. Going to start off your day right. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Clay Travis. Go follow me on Outkick. DBAP, boys and girls, don't be a pussy. This has been Outkick, the show.